Secretary of State and potential Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. So this campaign has been called everything from crazy to downright outrageous, and with social media playing such a huge role in the campaign, do you take what is written about you with a grain of salt, or do you feel that it does affect you a little bit?
Well, being a potential, presidential candidate, which is my goal, it is hard to read what people are thinking about me, and also because my competitor, Mr. Bernie Sanders, who's a great friend of mine, he was blocked out of the media completely, and yet you see people were still going for him. So looking at that, it's a great impact on me, not only personally, but because wanting to be, the leader of the nation, I have to kind of just brush it off a little bit, focus on my goals, focus on my campaign, focus on, being the leader that I have to be. But at times it does affect you, people are always people are always going to criticize, people are always going to say everything, but, I have to take it lightly, I have to just, brush it off at times, and at times actually, focus on that, but, I just have to keep on going.
Larry, speaking of Donald Trump, who we all know is the subject of much controversy, how has your experience been spending so much time with him and having him as your running mate? And is there anything that you two do see eye to eye on?
Donald Trump, okay. Speaking about him, I really can't seem to take it seriously every time he comes up, into a question, a debate or something like that.
Do you feel that he's in this for the long run, or do you feel that this is more of a publicity stunt for him?
I think it's a publicity. I mean, come on, let's face it. He doesn't give facts. He always changes his questions in almost every debate, He just fired his campaign manager. That is a big, deal, because he's been there for the longest time with Donald Trump, and, just cutting off your campaign manager is really not taking everything seriously, not taking responsibility for the actions or anything like that. So every time it's about Donald Trump, it's like a joke. It's seeing him as a presidential, candidate is just, I can't see it. I can't see it.
He calls his backers and supporters fans. How do you feel that paints a picture of him in the media, and more than that, just in America altogether?
I believe he thinks he's still on a TV show. I mean, come on, fans. Those are for celebrities. It's not really for a potential candidate. If you really want to take this seriously, you're gonna be, you're gonna rule the nation. You're gonna, be the face of the nation, and that's just fans. Come on, that's for a celebrity. It's not really, taking responsibility for anything that he's saying. So, I don't really take Mr. Donald Trump seriously at all.
Hilary, I want to change focus a little bit and turn to a really serious subject, and a subject that kind of rocked the nation in the last week or so, which is the Orlando shooting.
Of course.
That tragically left 50 people without their lives. I think the question on every American's mind right now is, what are you going to do to ensure that things like that don't happen?
Well, like I said it in my campaign, I mean, gun control is one of the biggest controversies that this nation has had. We have the people who are for it, call it sport, call it whatever they want, and then we have people who are against it. People who have suffered, people who have gone through all of this massacres, Like I said in the beginning, it's happened for a while. The nation has seen it in Columbine, the nation has seen it at Sandy Hooks, and it's seen again. And I mean, you see all these massacres going on, and Congress not doing anything. So what I've been trying to implement through this campaign is, having gun control, run more detailed background checks, so that people who have been convicted of felonies aren't, able to get in hands of those weapons. We've seen people who are mentally ill, who are not capable, and yet they still are able to get these weapons in hand. So what I've been trying to implement, like I said in this campaign, is for those people to not be able to inflict their issues by these terrible attacks, and, being one of the most horrible attacks that have been happening throughout the history. I think it's time for America to wake up and see that Congress isn't doing anything to stop this issue. So this campaign is all about that.
Your running mate, Bernie Sanders, is pro-gun,
Right.
and he feels that, it's definitely have the right to bear arms as stated in the Constitution. Why do you feel like that's not the way to go?
Like I said, we've been seeing it through the whole time. I respect Mr. Sanders a lot. I mean, what he's done throughout his campaign, he's lifted up the millennials and everything. But for that issue, for the gun control, I mean, yeah, you can have your own gun, you can have your own weapon if you may, but I think that we have to be more detailed and more precise as to who has those weapons, who was able to carry a gun. Not just anybody who's out on the streets, but people who are right in the mind, people who are able to have control of themselves and their weapons as well.